Do you ever feel tired, nauseous, or even a headache after eating your favorite McDonald's Big Mac meal? Well, there is a reason for this, and it's most likely your body being sensitive to monosodium glutamate, or MSG. Not everyone is affected by it, but many are. College students are generally very busy and don't have much time to pack themselves a lunch before leaving for the day. As a fellow college student, I personally know how tempting it is to go through the drive-thru in between classes. I'm going to explain what MSG is, where it comes from, and what are the symptoms of being sensitive to MSG. I'm also going to go into how we can avoid MSG. We all love the convenience of fast food and also the great taste, but if we knew what we were actually putting into our body, would we eat it so regularly? The FDA says it's safe, but monosodium glutamate is one of many harmful preservatives placed into processed foods that we eat every day. According to Catherine Zaratsky from the Mayo Clinic, monosodium glutamate is a flavor enhancer commonly added to Chinese food, canned vegetables, and soups, also in processed meats. It has been approved by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, but it should be reconsidered. MSG can be in any processed foods, usually in fast food chains unless specifically said otherwise. Also, it is found in most restaurant food and even frozen food we buy from the grocery store. In an article written by Chow Tu, it says monosodium glutamate was discovered more than 100 years ago by a Japanese chemist named Kikanu Ikeda, who derived it from seaweed and discovered it had a unique flavor-enhancing property. These days, MSG is made by fermenting starch, sugar beets, sugarcane, or molasses, according to the FDA. Very few people are unaffected by MSG with physical symptoms. However, most people will show symptoms, and if you do, there is a good chance it's related to consuming large amounts of processed foods. In the Mayo Clinic, the report says, researchers have found no definitive evidence of a link between MSG and these symptoms, but they also explain that there is a small percentage of people who show symptoms after consuming food containing MSG. In the book Battling the MSG Myth, written by Deborah Ainsley, she explains some of the symptoms caused by MSG. The most common symptoms are the following: dizziness, lightheadedness, headaches, migraines, loss of memory, nausea, and chest pain. I have dealt with some of these symptoms after eating fast food or processed foods. Over the summer, I did an experiment where for 1 week I only ate fast food. Within this week, I had headaches and would feel very nauseous for about an hour after eating. I then attempted the following activities: hiking, swimming, and riding a bike. After doing these activities for short periods, I felt tired, dizzy, and even lightheaded. Specifically, I went to Ravens Rock and was only able to make it halfway. In the next 2 weeks, I did not eat fast foods, processed, or canned foods. The first 4 days of this part of the experiment, I was craving fast food like crazy. I felt shaky and I had headaches consistently. I felt nauseous even when I ate no processed foods. It was like I was having withdrawals from a drug. After the first week, I stopped having the cravings, and I started to want healthier food instead of craving fast food. I then did the same activities before, and I was able to last much longer. I went to Ravens Rock again and made it to the top this time. I didn't feel as tired or drained as I did before. The purpose of this experiment was to prove that the food I put into my body is easily compared to the gas I put into my car. If I put the right gas in my car, then it'll run much better. And if I put the right food in my body, I will feel better. It matters what we put in our bodies not only for health, but for everyday stamina. I try my best not to eat fast food or processed meats, but when I don't, there is a definite difference in the way that I feel. Although many fast restaurants use MSG in their food, there are ways to eat out and still be eating food that does not contain MSG. KFC is highest on the list to serve food with MSG in it. Unfortunately for Chick-fil-A lovers, it is next on the list, with the highest amount of preservatives inside their chicken. Generally, the most MSG is in their grilled chicken. There are ways to eat at these restaurants without eating MSG-filled foods, but it can be very difficult to figure it out and also avoid it. Places like Five Guys, Panera Bread, Chipotle, etc. do not use MSG in their food. My favorite MSG place to eat is Five Guys. Their potatoes are cut and made fresh every day, and their meat is not processed like many other restaurants. After researching what MSG is, what the symptoms are, and how to avoid it, I will be trying to avoid MSG the best I can, and hopefully you might too. So will you think twice next time you decide to pull through a drive-thru?